All right, good morning, traders. Today is June 25th, 2026. My name, Coach Kerrigan, lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room, day trading service for Hit and Run Candlesticks family. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody out there on social media. Thank you for liking, following, and subscribing to my content. Appreciate that. Love that. Thank you so much. Big shout out to the people that share the content out there in the World Wide Web, helping get the good word out there to the masses. All right, let's take a look at the markets this morning. And actually, let's take a look at markets yesterday. We'll summarize it real quick, and then we'll take a look at some charts. Okay, so my SPY pivot this morning, 735.50. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. IWM, believe it or not, made another new all-time high yesterday. Diamond down, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. SPY outside day. That's a higher high and a lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the flat 17. QQQ, FNGU made lower highs, lower lows, closing under bearish traps under their 17 EMA. SPY closed. 10-minute bearish consolidation. And then it made a big rip right after Micron reported after the close. And 2-hour downtrend. So 10-minute bearish consolidation, 2-hour downtrend. That's not going to be kind of relevant today because you can see we're already way up there over near yesterday's highs. Gold and silver and USO, all three. Lower highs, lower lows, closing under bearish traps. Under their falling 17s, UNG in an uptrend made a lower high. Made a higher high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. Again, USO, downtrend, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the falling 17. US dollar index still in a daily uptrend, closed near the 101.60 area, breaking out of the bear flag into the consolidation area for 2023-2024. Today, SPY, max pain, 735 with a put to call ratio of over 3/4. Okay, 0.84 puts for each call that expires today at 4:15. If this index options, they expire at 4:15. Security options, they expire at 4. The main event, okay, is due to be released today at 8:30 a.m. So that's, roughly 20 minutes from now. If this is your first time seeing this is a little watch list. Right here, these are all in daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. These over here are in daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they have a little star next to it, they're building out a bull flag or a launch pad to launch higher. If they got a little star next to it over here, they're building out a bear flag or platform from which to dive lower. If they got a little dash, that means they've already broken out of the bull flag or the bear flag over here. Okay, so bullish over the 17 EMA on the daily chart, bearish under this falling 17 EMA on the daily chart. Let's take a look at the markets. Okay, so this is yesterday's trade. It was in the pre-market. It was presented at 8:36. All right, in the morning yesterday. You can see it right there. There's the time. Right there. Breakout of the channel. Okay, so this is post-market from yesterday. Actually, post-market from the day before. That would be the 23rd. And then pre-market for the 24th. Okay, that would be yesterday. Had a breakout of the channel right there. Went long. MES futures, I shared it in real time, and SPY shares right here. Pre-market, post-market range breakout. My stop, 734.07. Target 1 was 739.50. Second target, if they were able to hold over 739.50, was going to be the downtrend line. They never got to the downtrend line. But if we look at yesterday's price action, you'll see that on the SPY, on the 24th, we can see the breakout, and they made it all the way up to the first target, 739.50, right up there. Okay, so we'll break out up to 739.50. Okay, so that was yesterday's trade. Right here. Okay, that was given to everybody in the morning. You could have bought calls when the market opened and take it up to 739.50. This was the trade day before. Same thing. We did the same thing the day before. Okay, so that's that. And on the guidance from yesterday, in case you didn't take the pre-market trade, which was right here, and you wanted to follow the guidance, okay, you can see the guidance, bearish consolidation, price trading in a range, 736.30, 732.30, 5-minute uptrend over 736.30, which is what we had, over 736.30, right on up to, again, 739.50. All right, so that was the guidance for yesterday. And you can see that worked out well as that worked out well also. Okay, 36 on up to 739.50. Okay, downtrend did manifest, but I didn't trade the downtrend. All right, so just traded the uptrend. So let's take a look at the markets today. 10-minute chart. All right, coming into the close, I'm going to take off the pre-market, post-market. And let's just look at the 10-minute by itself. All right, and you can see into the close, we got price move from a high down to a low area and then over to the right. Okay, so not really an uptrend, not really a downtrend, just kind of moving over to the right. There's no daylight between the 3 and the 8 because it got pinched off right here. So bearish consolidation into the close. On the 2-hour chart, we got the sticks and the 3 plotting underneath the falling 8. So we got 2-hour downtrend. You can see the daylight between the 3 EMA and the 8 EMA. So 2-hour downtrend coming into the close on the SPY. On the daily candle, all right, we've got an outside day, which is a higher high, a lower low. We closed under a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. If we put the quad lines on there, all right, you can see this is the origin of our rally back here at the end of March up to a new all-time high. You can see we're still in quadrant 4, all right, so we're still bullish, all right, and we're still in an uptrend because we haven't made any lower lows. So SPY on the daily chart still bullish and in an uptrend. Weekly, still bullish and in an uptrend. Monthly, still bullish and in an uptrend. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. Start with a 10-minute chart. 10-minute chart, we had same thing, okay? Bearish, 10-minute bearish consolidation. Not quite an uptrend, not quite a downtrend. All right, a move from high down to low and then over to the right. So bearish consolidation on the QQQ coming into the close yesterday. On the 2-hour chart, we've got the sticks and the 3 plotting underneath the falling 8. So we've got a 2-hour downtrend coming into the close. You can see daylight between the 3 and the 8 right there. And then on the daily chart, you can see a lower high, lower low. We closed under a bearish trap under the all-time high anchored VWAP. We're in the bottom of quadrant 4. Again, the origin of our rally back here at the end of March. So we're bullish, all right, because we're in the upper third, all right, and we are still in an uptrend. We haven't made any lower lows. So QQQ bullish and in an uptrend on the daily, weekly, and monthly right there. All right, let's take a look at IWM. Remember, IWM made a new all-time high yesterday. And you can see right here, this is the prior high, all-time high, made a few days ago. 299.49. Yesterday's high was 299.69. So new all-time high for IWM. Okay, so obviously that's going to be, again, the origin of the rally. Starts back here in March. Again, that's going to be bullish and in an uptrend, all right? It's hard not to be bullish in an uptrend when you're making new all-time highs. Take a look at Diamond Dow. And on Diamond Dow, we got a higher low, a higher high. We closed over a bullish trap over the rising 17, up in the middle of quadrant 4, or the top of quadrant 4. That's going to be bullish. And in an uptrend, we haven't made any lower lows on that one. Let's take a look at FNGU. Lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Closing in the top of quadrant 2. All right, not 3, not 4, but 2. All right, so that's going to be neutral and still in a downtrend. We got a low here. They made a lower low. We haven't made a higher high yet, so we're still in a downtrend. So FNGU, neutral and in a downtrend. You can see the origin of their rally started back in March as well, the end of March. And this was a prior all-time high. And they ripped and made a new all-time high right up there. So that's FNGU, bearish, no, neutral, and in a downtrend for FNGU. All right, let's take a look at silver and gold. Silver, gold, and USO all made lower lows and lower highs, closing under bearish traps, closing under falling 17s, closing under all-time high anchored VWAPs. Silver closed in quadrant 2. Gold, I think gold and USO closed in quadrant 3. So here's silver closing in quadrant 2. All right. Remember, the lower third is bearish. Silver closed neutral, not quite bearish, not yet. Okay. So neutral for silver. And in a downtrend, you can see all these lows, and we made a lower low. So neutral and in a downtrend for silver. Gold. All right. Gold is down here in, again, the origin of our rally back here in 2022. Closed in quadrant 3. Okay. So, again, lower low, lower high, closing under a bearish trap, closing under the falling 17, closing under the all-time high anchored VWAP. In middle of quadrant 3, that's going to be neutral, and you can see all of these lows, and we made a lower low, so we're in a downtrend on gold, so neutral and in a downtrend on gold and silver. Let's take a look at USO. And USO, lower high, lower low, closing under bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP right here. Okay, that's the pink line. At the bottom of quadrant 2, that's going to be neutral. And you can see a low, a low, a low, a low. We made lower lows. And then a downtrend for USO. Let's take a look at UNG. And UNG puts in, this will be the day before's candle, yesterday's candle, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. We are bearish. Okay, this is the 14-month high anchored VWAP. All right, we are bearish because we're all the way down here in quadrant 1. All right, so that would be the lower third of the quadrant lines, bearish. But we're in an uptrend because we keep making higher highs and higher lows. So UNG, bearish but in a downtrend. Let's take a look at technicals. We'll start off with T2101, losing market breadth and participation yesterday. More and more each day. We're in a downtrend as far as market breadth and participation goes. That's a bearish clue for me right there. Put in a bullish clue on T2122, spending most of the day over in the buy zone. Okay, so kind of showing us bullish control on T2122. Bullish clue on T2122, bearish clue T2101. Let's take a look at T2123. Move up, not over the 200 SMA. But we've got some highs. We made some higher highs. We were in an uptrend, but then they made a low and then turned around and made a lower low. So they're in a downtrend. They had a nice uptrend going, but they allowed price action to produce a low, and then a lower low. So there's T21, 22, 23 on the 15-minute chart. You like to be over the rising 200. All right. If you're a bull, you want to be up on top of that. We're under it, so it's kind of favoring the bears right there. I'm going to pan way out, put the quad lines on there. You can see we're still up here in quadrant 4, so we're bullish. But we made lower lows yesterday. At the end of the day, low here, lower there. This is a 15-minute chart. So bullish, but in a downtrend and under the rising 200 SMA. 3-bar chart showing you same product. And we look at the 3-bar chart. We're at the top of quadrant 4, so that's going to be bullish. We have not made lower lows, so we're still in an uptrend, and we're over that rising 200 SMA. Okay, that was a prior all-time high. This was the most recent all-time high. All right, so bullish and in an uptrend. T2123 3-bar chart. FNGU, no help from FNGU yesterday. Okay, so price over to the right and then down. All right, so we got low here. And then you can see a little bit of a peak over the 17. And then we made a lower low. So we're in a downtrend. We're under the falling 200 SMA, flat 200 SMA. Again, not where you want to be if you're a bull. We're under the all-time high anchored VWAP right there. So this is going to be neutral and in a downtrend. As I put the quad lines on there, that's an all-time high. You can see we're in the, we're in quadrant 2 right there. So that makes us neutral. We're not down here in the lower third yet. Okay, so neutral and in a downtrend on the 15-minute chart for FNGU. US dollar index right here. Dig this out on the daily chart and let's try that one right there. Okay, so US dollar index. I don't know why we got UNG up there. Let's try this again. Okay, so where did all my lines go? All right. Okay, so bear flag, 6-month downtrend transitions into a 12-month bear flag, and you can see price broke through major support. That's the valleys all through there. So 6-month downtrend transitions into a bear flag underneath, breaking major support. 12-month transition into this bear flag. 12-month bear flag right here. And we have an uptrend. We're making higher lows and higher highs. And we're breaking back into the 2023-2024 consolidation zone right there. Okay, so US dollar index still in an uptrend. All right, let's take a look at the economic package. Remember, price is forget what I was going to say there. GDP is coming out at 8:30. Okay, so that's in about 4 minutes. Okay, so max pain for today, 735. Put to call ratio, 0.83 puts for each call that expires today. Again, those security options expire at 4. Index options expire at 4:15. Earnings last night. Micron moved the tape. All right, so let me see if I can show you what happened last night. And let's go over here and let's put this up. Let's try this one and let's put this up. Don't know why we got this on here. Let's try SPY. And we want 10 minute. And where's my... There it is. Okay, so here's Micron after the close. This is not Micron, but this is SPY, which you can see obviously Micron reported big numbers. I said Micron was part of the AI community, part of the tip of the spear, so you can see price rally up after the close. We were in bearish consolidation, and then we rip up over VWAP up here, and then kind of move over to the right, kind of a dip, a rise and fall right there, but not losing much ground. And then of course we consolidate. We pop up in the pre-market this morning and trade over this area right here. So we got price action over price action, which gives us a bullish bias. All right, gives me a bullish bias, and looking for a breakout of the range. Okay, so range for this morning, I'm going to call it 736.50, and the top side of the range, I'm going to call it 739.20. Okay, so top side is 739.20, bottom side is 736.50, right through here. Okay, so looking for a breakout of the range this morning to trade to the upside. Now GDP is about to print. There'll be a lot of volatility, probably a big spike up, big spike down, probably run the stops at the top, run the stops at the bottom, or vice versa, and then probably head off on the path that it wishes to continue in. Okay, so that's going to happen here in about 1 or 2 minutes right here, or even less than a minute. Okay, it's now 8:29, so that's GDP this morning. And then again, it may just stay flat. All right, we'll see what happens. All right, this is the 10-minute chart, the SPY, with the post-market, pre-market on there. Okay, let's go back to the economic package. All right, Micron reported, and you can see I showed you in the post-market last night the movement that happened. Again, I said that's part of the tip of the spear. Today, what do we got for today? Nothing but familiar names. Nothing here has the type of market cap, or influence to move the markets right here. Okay, so none of this will really matter. Okay, on the 26th, again, more familiar names, but nothing here that's going to move the market. Same with tomorrow or today. Nothing here. All familiar names. Nothing that's going to move the markets. Okay, on the economic calendar. And you can see over here, we're on Thursday. Durable good orders come out at 8:30, so we're going to get a lot of data coming out at 8:30. Durable good, GDP, jobless claims, personal income and outlays. Then on top of all of that, we got even more. Chicago Fed National Activity Index. We've got corporate profits. We've got retail inventories. We got wholesale inventories. All of those, 8:30, okay, coming out now. Natural gas report with inventories, all right, coming out at 10:30, and that's pretty much it. And then comes tomorrow, we're going to have international trading goods at 8:30 in the morning, consumer sentiment at 10, and a rig count at 1 o'clock. So light day tomorrow. So we'll see what happens this morning. Let's go take a peek real quick. Take a look at the gamma. See what the gamma is doing this morning. Let's refresh that. Because you can look at the gamma and then everything could fall apart after GDP does what it wants to do. So I like a GDP like 2.5, 3.0, 3.5, 4.0. Okay, that's what I like. All right, so actually I like 3.0 or better. Okay, that's mainly. 2.5. I guess that's okay. All right, so we've got a call wall right here at 740. So chances are we'll see if we're going to run the call wall. And the put wall back here is at 730 and 740. All this will change once the market opens. All right, so it looks like market likes GDP. So far, big question is they get over. Here we are at 739.20. Okay, so we want to see price get up there and hold. In other words, you want to see follow through on the big igniting candle. Okay, no follow through, and they probably roll over and test the low side of the range that we're in this morning. All right, so really nothing to do yet. They didn't break out of the range. Okay, notice they didn't close up here. All right, so we'll just wait and see. It may happen on the 5, it might happen on the 10, it might happen on the 15 minute. We'll see what happens. We'll put it on the 5 for right now. Okay, so price in this move up and over to the right. It's in this bull flag. It's caught inside this range. I like to trade the range from the bottom up to the top. From the bottom up to the top. It's a bull flag. See how we come off the bottom and we move up and then over to the right. So I want to trade from the bottom up to the top. Okay, and each time I want to leave a trailer to continue if they ever decide to break out of a bull flag. All right, down here I can have a nice tight stop with probably 40-50 cents between the stop and my entry. Okay, so from the bottom up to the top. All right, so there's SPY on the 5 minutes, still price action, not breaking out of the range here. Okay, I want to see it close up here, and then I want to see another green candle that shows me some follow through. If we get a red candle that engulfs the green candle, probably coming right back down to here, or if we get several red candles, it's obvious that the igniting candle failed. It got a failed breakout, and probably a good chance price rolls over, comes back to this VWAP or the gap fill. We'll see what happens. That's SPY this morning. So you got my plan for this morning for SPY. Range, looking for a breakout. Okay, we're closing over this. And now I want to see follow through. Follow through has to break the high. Okay, follow through cannot be a little green candle right here inside of this. All right, I need price to break the high of that wick. All right, any traders today? Thank you, Alan, for posting. Appreciate that. Let's see what GDP. GDP is good. I just want to see what it says. So I'm going to take this up right up here. And quarter over quarter annual rate. Prior was 1.6. Okay, this is... I gotta tell you, 2.1. I'm not impressed. So if the market's rallying on 2.1, I like to see 3.0 or better. Okay, so that's not impressive at all. So I don't know why the market's rallying. I guess if it's not going down, it's going to the right. So we'll see what happens here. All right, traders, I'll see you all in 35 minutes, and we'll open up the markets and see what happens right here once the markets get open.